The desert was still at dawn, a vast stretch of burning silence where even the wind seemed afraid to move. Broken stone walls rose from the sand like the skeleton of a forgotten city, ancient ruins turned into a modern battlefield. Captain Elias Mercer lay motionless on the rooftop of a collapsed minaret, his breathing slow and controlled, his sniper rifle aligned with the first pale line of sunrise. Below him, the enemy patrols were already awake, moving through the ruins with disciplined aggression, unaware that they were being watched from every angle of death. Elias had been inserted alone 3 hours before dawn. No backup, no extraction confirmed. The mission was simple on paper and impossible in reality. Survive, gather intel, and disable the enemy's communication grid long enough for Allied forces to breach the valley. But what Command hadn't fully understood was that the enemy wasn't just occupying the ruins, they were controlling the entire desert corridor through a mobile radio network hidden inside armored units. And Elias was now inside their perimeter. The first shot did not come from his rifle. Instead, Elias watched patiently as 2 enemy technicians set up a relay antenna inside a half-collapsed courtyard. He adjusted his scope, not for them, but for what they were connected to. The real targets were the communication operators scattered across 3 ruined structures. He counted breathing patterns, guard rotations, and the subtle flicker of radio transmission lights. His finger never rushed. A sniper's war was not about bullets, it was about timing. At 0541, the first enemy radio went silent. A single suppressed shot cracked across the desert air, swallowed instantly by distance and sand. One operator slumped forward over his console, unnoticed for several seconds. By the time the others realized something was wrong, Elias had already shifted position by less than a meter, disappearing into the broken stone shadows like he had never existed. Then the second radio died. Panic does not begin with shouting, it begins with confusion. The enemy patrols paused, exchanging words that no longer traveled beyond their fractured network. Elias watched it unfold like a silent orchestra falling apart. He didn't smile, he didn't rush, he simply recalculated. Somewhere deep inside the ruins, a commander barked orders into a headset that no longer reached anyone. That was the moment Elias understood the true design of his mission, not to fight an army, but to erase its voice. He moved again. Every position he used had a lifespan of less than 90 seconds. Each shot was not fired randomly, but threaded through a mental map of circuitry, signals, and human behavior. One by one, relay operators, signal carriers, and backup communicators vanished from the network. No explosions, no dramatic alerts, just silence spreading like a disease through metal and mines. By 0610, the enemy realized something terrifying. Their radios were not malfunctioning, they were being hunted. Search teams began sweeping the ruins. Boots crushed ancient stone, weapons aimed at shadows, nerves stretched thin by unseen pressure. Elias watched them enter kill zones he had drawn hours earlier in his mind. But he did not engage them. Infantry was noise. His target was silence, or rather, the creation of it. From a fractured tower on the eastern edge, a heavy radio uplink attempted to restore communication. If it came online, the entire operation would collapse. Elias exhaled slowly, feeling the desert wind shift direction. For a moment, everything aligned, the angle, the light, the heartbeat of the machine. One shot. The uplink sparked, then went dark forever. Now the enemy was blind, but blind men still shoot. Bullets tore through the ruins as soldiers fired at imagined movement. Elias had already relocated, sliding through a collapsed corridor beneath them. Dust filled the air like smoke from a ghost fire. He could hear their frustration turning into fear. Fear always spreads faster than information. At 0628, a final emergency channel flickered to life from a mobile command vehicle parked beyond the ruins. Elias had anticipated it. He had been waiting for it.
The vehicle was armored, reinforced, and guarded heavily, but it was also predictable. Everything mobile depended on rhythm, and rhythm could be broken. He steadied his rifle for the longest shot of the mission. The desert seemed to hold its breath. Even the enemy soldiers felt something coming, though they did not know from where. The commander inside the vehicle shouted for status updates, unaware that there were no updates left to receive. Elias fired. The round traveled across impossible distance, striking the communication module at the exact point where redundancy met dependency. The entire system collapsed instantly. Screens went black, antennas died mid-transmission. The enemy's coordinated structure evaporated into chaos. And then something unexpected happened. Silence. Not tactical silence, total silence. The enemy stopped receiving orders entirely. Units froze, disconnected, leaderless. Some retreated, some held positions without purpose. Others simply waited, believing reinforcements were coming that would never arrive. But no one knew why. No one knew that a single sniper had rewritten the battlefield from a rooftop in forgotten ruins. Elias did not celebrate. He did not even confirm the kill count. He was already moving towards extraction before the sun fully rose. His mission was never about recognition. It was about absence. The absence of communication. The absence of coordination. The absence of certainty. By the time Allied forces advanced into the valley hours later, they found the ruins strangely intact, almost peaceful. Enemy equipment was abandoned. Radios lay scattered like dead insects. There were no clear signs of what happened, only the lingering echo of confusion. In after-action reports, analysts would call it a communications failure. In enemy accounts, it would become something else entirely. A myth, a ghost signal that silenced entire networks without warning. But in reality, it was simple. At dawn, in the heart of desert ruins, one sniper had silenced every enemy radio, and no one ever saw him leave.